Welcome to the eve of polling day rally. We thank you all for coming out this evening to be part of this historic moment to re-elect Jeremy Corbyn, independent, for Islington North. Tomorrow we make history together. I want to start us off with a poem before I introduce you to our speakers. It's called Corbyn. For you, it's about power for the right. For me, it's about the hunger to fight for those fighting to stay alive, scraping by, trying to survive. You started a war against each other, forgetting about the mother struggling herself to feed her child. How do you think we survive in the wild? Temporary and social housing not fit for a dog, while you lap up lavish food, sleeping like a log. We know the roof over our head and temporary bed keeps us alive, but I wish I was dead, or just not exist. That's how we feel. This isn't a nightmare for us, it's real. Carry on with your internal war, forgetting about us who don't choose to be poor. Remember, it happens to be luck when and where we are born. It could be you on that park bench in the morn. An independent voice in a choir of others who sing for their own suppers, leaving everyone hungry with an appetite for change. Vote with your heart and your head. Vote to make sure you and your family are fed. Vote for a familiar face. Vote for the human in the race. Vote for Jeremy Corbyn, independent, on July 4th. Thank you. Thank you. First up, we're going to hear from Bisi. Give it up for Bisi.
Okay, I'm nothing if not obedient. I've been given 3 minutes. I'm going to make 3 points. It's absolutely incredible to be part of this huge mass show of support for Jeremy Corbyn, who became an MP in Islington North 41 years ago. People from all over the country have volunteered to be part of this amazing campaign over the past 6 weeks. My name is Bisi. I've lived in Islington North for many years, raised my kids here, worked as a teacher here. I was also a member of Islington North CLP, Labour Party, where, with an amazing team of people, we worked tirelessly to support the work of our MP, our council and our community. And we created an amazing, active and collegiate CLP. However, what they did to our long-standing MP and the way they denied us our democratic right to choose who we wanted to stand as our MP has meant that people like me, a member for over 40 years, have left. That's behind us now. For many of us, our commitment to Jeremy Corbyn is ongoing, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for the amazing contributions so many of you have made to this wonderful campaign to get Jeremy re-elected. Point 2, we know about the amazing person we're fighting so hard to get re-elected. We know something of his international work, his call for a ceasefire in Gaza, his opposition to nuclear weapons and for peace, his campaign for rent controls and council house building, his fight for public ownership, a Green New Deal and safe routes for asylum seekers. But what many of you don't realise is that there's something that people miss, which is the incredible work he does as a constituency MP. For those of us who over the years, we've worked, campaigned and canvassed alongside him. And it's a nightmare walking down the street with him because everybody wants to talk him, thank him, shake his hand. It's his support for us, the local people and local communities, which gives him the incredible support he has. We've seen with our own eyes the help he's provided. him and his team to all those local people struggling. And he's absolutely unstinting in his support for our local communities and our local people. Point 3, it's my grandson's first birthday on Friday. He was born at our local hospital, the Whittington, where Jeremy, alongside many of us, has been campaigning to save the neonatal unit. The Whittington is the hospital where 13 years ago we worked with Jeremy and others and succeeded in saving the A&E. Because I've only got 3 minutes, I make no excuse for stressing the importance of the NHS and the importance of Jeremy's support for the NHS. We just need to look at Jeremy's opponent. For me and for so many of us, it's Jeremy's support for our NHS that sums up so much about what he believes in. Let's remind ourselves of what the NHS was set up to be: a comprehensive service, universally available, based on clinical need, and free, I repeat, free at the point of need. So, let's give that little grandson of mine the best birthday present he could have. He may disagree. The election of Jeremy Corbyn as Islington North's independent MP.
Give it up for Bisi! We're just going to have a little short 30 seconds.
Don't worry about it.
And then yep, we're good. Okay, I want you to make some noise for our next guest. It's Holly, and she's going to be singing a song for us and the campaign. Give it up for Holly!
Hi. I'm Holly Henderson. Can't hear you. 1, 2.
Put the mic up a bit.
Oh man, is that alright? I feel like I'm being a pain.
No, you're fine.
You're a legend. Is that better? Yeah. I might have to. No. You get a megaphone. If you can hear me. Look at that. No guitar at the moment, but I'll just speak very briefly. I'm not going to bore you. But I have a song. Am I just doing the one?
Yes.
Cool. Right. I'll do the one that I know the lyrics to, which is my own one. But I actually wrote it during the pandemic. Had to live with my mum during the pandemic, and she's got a disability, as have I. And my parents have both been journalists and fought, and my granddad and my family actually have fought for socialism since way before I was born. And we are all alive because of the NHS, and I'm really passionate about being here and endorsing the one person I feel is essential at this point to have in the room speaking on behalf of us. We need change. History will repeat itself. If anyone reads books, which I'm fortunate enough can assume that everyone here does, is aware that a void of power will be filled, and not always for the good. And everyone here needs to make sure that we fill that with something that is a voice for good and positive change. So, this is called History Repeats. one of those ball bearing doohickeys.
On the ground as a white machine takes them down. I hear fallen trees and summer's lost to blaze as a mighty shines it burns. I can see history, it repeats with us. We're not coming very far in my lifetime after all. I thought you wanted peace and love. We will be released. I can see history, it repeats with us. Land of free, you walk on stolen ground. Take what's yours and burn it down. What's left when all you've done for them is left with smoke and guns? Who'll rise and us be home at last with us, your pale friends? I can see history, it repeats with us. We're not coming very far in my lifetime after all. I thought you wanted peace and love. We will be released. I can see history, it repeats with us.
I was going to play another one, but I guess we don't have time. But I was going to play Revolution by the Beatles, so I suggest you listen to that tonight. Well, thank you for having me. Vote Corbyn!
Give it up for Holly, everybody! Oh, make some more noise! Give it up for Holly! So next, we have a special guest joining us, a journalist that you probably all know, Mr. Owen Jones. Give it up for Owen Jones!
Well, if it isn't the People's Republic of Islington North, how are we feeling? Think we can do a little bit better than that. How are we doing, guys? And how are we feeling about electing Jeremy Corbyn as the independent MP for Islington North? Pretty good, pretty good. Hope, hope. That's what drives us. That's why we're here. Hope. A belief that a society as wealthy as this can solve all the injustices and challenges it has. That not a single child, not one, should grow up in poverty and hardship. That nobody should earn their poverty. That no one in this society should be in an overcrowded, rip-off home, subsidising private landlords. That this is a society where we can build a national health service that meets all of our needs. That we can have an education that builds the opportunities for the next generation. That we can take on a climate emergency and make it an opportunity. And that we don't have to be a country that arms nations committing genocide. Hope. Those are the sorts of beliefs that have driven Jeremy all his life. And when people were demonised, like Jeremy, for standing against apartheid South Africa, were they not vindicated? When Jeremy stood for LGBTQ rights when people were demonised as the loony left, were people like Jeremy not vindicated? When those like Jeremy stood against the Iraq war, were they not vindicated? When Jeremy stood against austerity, was he not vindicated? And when Jeremy stood against the genocide in Gaza, will he not be vindicated again? Jeremy has stood over and over again on the right side of history. And that's what makes all of us here campaign and fight to make sure he's re-elected. I won't dwell too much on our opponents, but I'll tell you this. If you're a Labour canvasser, and this short time we all have alive on earth, and you've chosen to flood Islington North of all places, let's be honest, you're driven by one thing alone, and that's spite. That's the truth. But we have hope. We have hope. And I just want to end by saying this. We need people like Jeremy elected. Not just because he's been on the right side time and time again. But we've had a warning these last few days. We've had a warning that we should be grateful that we had advance notice of. That warning came from France. If you have a politics that comes to power, which doesn't stand up for the needs of the majority, which keeps the injustices that scar and define our societies in place, that ramps up the scapegoating of migrants and minorities and refugees, I tell you what you end up with fascism. That's right. And now we've got a slightly more charmless version of Macron about to take over. Look, I'm glad we've got the Conservatives out. The Conservatives are toast, and we should be glad of that. They have wrecked this country. But our objection with the Tories isn't simply about their personalities. Though, I mean, come on. We object to Tory policies. We want Tory policies out. And that's what this is about. We've got to make sure we have leaders in the next Parliament who stand up for the policies that this country needs. That we stand up for a living wage. That we have investment. That we tax the booming rich to invest in the NHS and our education. We build the housing that we so desperately need. That we take on the climate emergency. Hello. That we take on the climate emergency, and that we make sure we build a society run in the interests, to coin a phrase, of the many and not the few. That's what leaders like Jeremy will do. So let's take our hope and let's take our energy to every doorstep in Islington North. Are we all going to make sure we're knocking on doors? Are we going to tell all of our friends and loved ones, random strangers in the streets, to do the same? Are we going to be full of hope and optimism? And are we going to commit that whatever happens next, we will fight in the coming years to build a new society running the interests of the many, not the few? So let's go out there and get the amazing, incredible Jeremy re-elected as the independent MP. Listen to that. Thank you.
Make some noise! I want them to hear us in Holborn and St Pancras. Make some noise! So before I introduce the next speaker, I want you to look at my top. If you want one of these t-shirts, there is a stall to my right, your left. You can get one of these magnificent t-shirts, and when you knock on doors tomorrow for Jeremy, wear it and tell them who we are. I'm going to introduce you to an Islington local and winner of The Voice, Jermaine Jackman. Make some noise!
Wow. 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 Friends, comrades, it's amazing to be here this afternoon. I left the Labour Party last year, uninspired by its leadership, uninspired by its policies, and disgusted by the way it treats its members like Diane Abbott and Jeremy Corbyn. Just a short story. I first met Jeremy when I was 13 years old. Thank you very much. I was at Islington Arts and Media School, and I would often see Jeremy in the school, which shows his commitment to education and to young people. And I sung for him. And he came up to me and said, Jermaine, you have an amazing voice. I want to take you on a campaign trail with me. So as he went and visited communities in Islington, I would often go alongside with him and sing. When he ran to be Labour leader, I went alongside him and sung. When he spoke at conference as leader of the Labour Party, I opened for him and sung. And as he's standing as an independent MP for Islington North, I'm here today to sing to you too. And this song is by Nina Simone and it's called Feeling Good, because I'm feeling good about Jeremy. And it's a new dawn and a new day for Islington North when Jeremy is elected tomorrow as the MP. For those who don't know me, my name is Jermaine Jackman. I was born and brought up in Hackney, Islington, kinda. I can claim both sides because I live in Finsbury Park. Diane Abbott was my MP, but because of the boundary changes, David Lammy, unfortunately, is my MP. And I want you to know here today, I will not be voting for David Lammy tomorrow. I want people to know that. I want people to recognize that I will not be voting because I'm uninspired by him and his stance, especially in the genocide in Gaza. Just making sure we have the music. We love technology. We love it. Oh, not acapella. I didn't prepare for that. Birds flying high. You know how I feel. Sun in the sky. You know how I feel. Breeze just drifting on by, yes. You know how I feel. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. It's a new life for me and for Islington North. And I'm feeling good, yeah. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on the tree, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, and I'm feeling good. Dragonfly are all in the sun, you know what I mean, don't you know? Butterflies are all having fun, you know what I mean. To sleep in peace when day is done, that is what I mean. And this old world's a new world and a bold world for me. 'cause when you shine, you know how I feel. Scent of the pine, you know how I feel. Oh, freedom is mine, and I know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life. It's a new dawn, a new day, a new life, a new life for me. Yeah. And I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Isn't it not? You feeling good? I'm feeling good. Yes, I'm feeling good. So good, so good. Vote for Jeremy tomorrow.
Give it up for Jermaine Jackman. I'm feeling good too. We've just got 2 speakers left. One of them is the man himself, Mr. Jeremy Corbyn. No, you need to be louder than that. That's it. I'm going to introduce you to the penultimate speaker, the General Secretary of the RMT. And I've been told he's a legend. Mr. Mick Lynch.
Hello, good evening, North London lefties. How are you? Give us a shout out if you like peace. Give us a shout out if you like tofu. It's great to see you. It's great to be here in Arsenal territory. It's very dangerous for me. I've just come over from West London to bring a bit of light to your occasion. From the greenest borough, the queen of the suburbs, Ealing, where we're going to have 3 Labour MPs, Jeremy. One of them might be in the cabinet of it, I'm hearing, but there you go. He's my neighbour as well. It's even worse than that. But it's great to see you. I'm here because the RMT sent me. That's my job. I follow instructions like a good member. But mostly importantly than that, we support Jeremy all the way. We stand in absolute solidarity with Jeremy. And you know why we do that? Because he stands with us. When we were under attack, and I'm looking forward to one result tomorrow. Remember Grant Shapps? Remember him? He said that he was going to crush our union within a fortnight. And at that time, it was just RMT members down at Euston Station. Jeremy was there with us most mornings on the picket line. He's been with us in his entire career, those of us that are trade unionists, his entire life in this movement. He's been standing with the men and women of this country, fighting for their rights, the trade unionists, the people in poor housing, the people in poverty, and of course the people around the world, fighting for their own liberation, for their own dignity, and some peace on our planet. That's why we stand with Jeremy Corbyn, and that's why he's different from the rest, and that's why they're trying to do him in, and that's why we're going to stop them. Because what we need in Parliament, along with some of our friends, and we still have some good comrades in the Labour Party, and some of them will be in the RMT group, and when we get back to Parliament next week, Jeremy will be in our RMT group, along with all the other socialists that we can find remaining in the Labour Party that want to fight for our values. But our message is clear from the RMT. We are going to rebuild our movement. We are going to rebuild it as an independent Labour movement, independent trade unionists. We are not affiliated to the Labour Party, and we will not affiliate to the Labour Party. The Labour Party has left us. So what we're going to do, Jeremy Corbyn is not an independent. All these posters are wrong as far as I'm concerned. Jeremy Corbyn is an integral part of the Labour movement, because the Labour movement belongs to us. It doesn't belong to the machine politicians that are trying to rebrand our movement, drop our values, drop our principles, and dilute our policies. We will never stand for it. So this is an important election tomorrow. This is the start of a campaign, the start of the campaign to rebuild the Labour movement. It's ours, and we claim it back, just as we claim back the right to strike, the right to campaign, and the right to resist over the last 3 years. Jeremy's been an integral part of keeping those ideas alive. The idea of socialism cannot be crushed by those that seek to manage the economy, those that seek to manage capitalism. What we need is to crush capitalism and build socialism in this country and all around the world. And it's only amongst the beatniks of Islington North that you can say that out loud these days. So good on you. So what we're going to do tomorrow, we're going to get out on the doorsteps all over this constituency. We're going to raise the cry. A vote for Corbyn is a vote for the future. A vote for Corbyn is a vote for peace. A vote for Corbyn is a vote for justice. And a vote for Corbyn is a message that we stand with the people of Palestine. We stand against the genocide. And we stand for a better world for all. So it's my job to introduce to you now the current, future and forever MP for Islington North, Comrade Jeremy Corbyn.
Thank you. Thank you, Mick. Thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you all for coming to Highbury Fields tonight. As you know, we always march in the tread of those that went before, and history was made here on Highbury Fields. Just over there at Highbury Barn was where the Priory was sacked in 1381, when the Peasants' Revolt marched to London in protest against the poll tax and burnt down the Priory as a point of protest. This is the history of London. It's the history of people that have stood up against oppression and stood up for liberty. This constituency was once represented by Wilkes for liberty. It was later represented by Charles Duncombe, who presented the Great Chartist Petition to Parliament in the mid-19th century. Many people have made their homes, made their lives, and done great things historically in this area, including Mary Wollstonecraft, including Karl Marx, including Lenin, including Fenner Brockway. Many, many great people have made an historical contribution to our community. And I think it's important we always remember the history of our movement and how our rights were won, how our right to vote was won, how our health service and so much else was won. So I just think this campaign has been amazing and historic. I want to say this is the 11th general election campaign I've been involved in, and it's been the most full on. We've done more canvassing than has ever been done before in this constituency. We've spoken to more people, and in less than 5 weeks from starting from absolutely nothing, we have knocked on all those doors. We've had all those conversations with so many people. We've inspired so many young people and many local people to come in and help in this campaign. I want to say a thank you to all of them. I also want to say a thank you to the members of Islington North Labour Party, who first selected me over 40 years ago to be their candidate. And during those 40 years, I've been selected again and again by the same people in the Labour Party. I've reported to them every month on what I've been doing during all of that time. And I've learnt an enormous amount from all of them. So it's painful beyond belief to watch the destruction of democracy in the Labour Party by the current leadership of the party. The way in which the members were denied any say and any vote. So I just want to put on record because I was unable to write to them all because I was denied even the information to do that. I want to just say thank you, comrades, for all you've done and all we've done together. And in all the marches, demonstrations, strikes and so on in the future, we're going to be on the same side, marching down the same road, demanding the same thing. Because that is what you do when you do things in unity. So it's a huge thank you to all those that came forward 5 weeks ago. Within a few hours of announcing I was running as an independent, 1,000 people had already offered to come and help with the campaign. We got an office, we set it up, we set up the systems, we printed the leaflets, and we got on with it. Thank you. It's been an amazing experience. People in the office till 1 o'clock in the morning and back there again at 8 o'clock in the morning to keep the campaign going and making sure you've all got plenty to do. And there's plenty more to do tomorrow. So we're not going to have a long rally tonight. Understand that, please. So I will be restricted in my speech because there's people behind me. They're control, real control. Yeah, I know what you're about. But I also want to put on record my personal thanks to all of them, and if I may say so, a huge personal thanks to my wife Laura for all that she's done. And the routine abuse we've all received from the mainstream media, but you know what? When you're attacked by the Daily Mail, it's a badge of honour! So, my friends, I want to say thank you very much to all those that spoke before me. Mick, who spoke earlier, Holly, who sang, Hannah, who's written such great poetry and presided over all of our rallies. This is the sixth one, I think it is, that we've had in this election campaign. Obviously to Mick, to Owen, and to Bisi, and to Jermaine for his wonderful singing. I like to think I was the one that discovered Jermaine when I saw him singing when I heard him singing the Yellow Brick Road at the age of 13. I knew this guy was going places, and look at him tonight, fantastic. So let's say thank you to all of them, because I believe politics is about information, is about history, is about causes, but it's also about art, it's poetry, it's music, it's culture as a whole. We're all creative individuals. And I promise you, this campaign is not run by artificial intelligence. I think some others probably are, because they seem to lack any humanity in what they're doing. And so this campaign has been an absolute joy, and tomorrow will be a joy. And we are on the verge, I believe, of making history. If we win tomorrow, it'll be a win against the tide for an independent, standing up for the community, standing up for democracy, and standing up for all the issues that we believe in. And if elected, I'll be that voice in Parliament that will sometimes be awkward, sometimes be critical, sometimes be demanding, sometimes be denounced as being unbelievably unreasonable and difficult and stubborn. I'm all of those things. I know I am. But you've got to do what you believe to be right and stand by it, whatever the price. And I've never forgotten going through a division lobby against war with Tony Benn. There were 17 of us in one division, there were 520 in the other. And Tony said to me, you know what, comrade, history will prove us to be right. We opposed the slaughter and opposed the war and didn't join in with the Gadarene swine running ahead of it all. So I think we have a huge opportunity tomorrow to get ourselves over the line and win this. But it's also about our lives. And it is about the way in which our wonderful National Health Service is run, and the way in which it's funded and the provision it makes. And many in this crowd, and thousands more, marched to protect our Whittington Hospital in 2010 to stop it being closed, or the A&E being closed, which would have led to the closure of the whole hospital, and stop the privatisation of our services, because that is what we do. That's what we believe in. By the way, if the Labour candidate is here tonight, I wrote a letter to him on Monday asking if he wanted to come and have a debate about the National Health Service and about the role of the private sector in taking money out of the National Health Service. Strangely enough, there's been no reply. But I'm sure you wouldn't mind extending the rally so we could have that debate here and now. Would that be okay? Have the debate here and now about the role of the private sector in taking millions out of our National Health Service while the rest of us put millions into the National Health Service through our taxation. Healthcare is a human right, free at the point of need for everybody. The health service shouldn't be a rationing organisation to create a market for private sector companies. The National Health Service should be and must be a place for all of us to get decent health care, and with it a better mental health service, and with it a better social care service as well. And so I will be absolutely dedicated to ensuring our National Health Service is always there, free at the point of need for everybody who needs it. But there's so much else in this election campaign. 40% of the children in this community are living in poverty, living difficult lives, and their parents are at the food banks every week trying to get enough food for them to get by. So why on earth do we have something so immoral in our society as limiting benefits to the first 2 children in a larger family? There's something just totally wrong and immoral about that. Is the 3rd child worth less than the first and second? Is the 4th child worth nothing? I want a society where every child is valued. Nobody has to go to a food bank, and minimum wage means a minimum wage that you can live on, not one that you need to go to get benefits as well on top of that. And so this is an election about the future for young people as well, because I find it appalling the way that young people are over-tested and over-streamed in school, forced deeply into debt if they go to university, and then when they come out of university, no chance of getting council housing because it's in such short supply, forced into the private rented sector where they're paying half or more of their take-home pay in rent levels, and it goes up and up every year. Private rents went up by 15% last year, and they're continuing to go up all the time. And so it is beyond pathetic that none of the mainstream political parties are even offering to move in the direction of rent control and rent regulation within our society. So I will be that voice to do all of that. And I will be that voice as well for the building of more council housing and ensuring that the whole of our community is decently housed. Why do we tolerate having rough sleeping in our society? This is the 5th richest country in the world, as Mick pointed out. Why do we tolerate this? Why can't we just simply say there will be no more rough sleeping, there will be no more homeless, and give the resources to councils to make sure everybody is housed? It's not that difficult. So I pay a huge tribute to all those that campaign on housing and on homelessness, and to those, for example, in Streets Kitchen that do so much to give help and comfort to people sleeping rough and frankly starving on our streets at the present time. So these things have to be campaigned for and have to be spoken strongly about, and I want to be that voice in Parliament doing that. I also want to be that voice that recognises that the environmental crisis we all face is here, it's serious, it's desperate, and it is appalling. You're not going to solve it by having more oil wells. You're not going to solve it by burning more fossil fuels. You're only going to solve it by converting our economy into a sustainable green economy. But you don't do it by punishing those that work in those industries. Instead, you support those workers as you convert those industries. That means public investment. I don't see it as a waste of money. I don't see it as a luxury. I see it as an investment for a sustainable future for all of us. And that's why I was proud in 2019 to place before Parliament the motion that Britain would be the first country to declare a climate emergency. And it was passed and it was got through at that time. So these issues about workers' rights, these issues about a sustainable world, these issues about decent education service only are won by popular action and popular movements. The NHS didn't come because Parliament wanted it. The minimum wage didn't come because Parliament wanted it. National insurance didn't come for that reason any more than any of the other legislation did. It came because of demands of people. So if I'm elected to Parliament tomorrow, and I hope I am, obviously, it's not me who's being elected, it's all of you who's been elected. It's that voice that's going to be there, that voice that will be there. And to ensure that we have a collective voice, I will establish a monthly assembly meeting within the constituency so that, yes, I'll report back on what I've been doing, but also every local campaign and others that are concerned about issues can have a voice as well. When we come together, as this campaign has shown, we are unbelievably strong, and we find how much we agree on and how we're able to get along so well together. So I want to say thank you to everyone for their behaviour in this campaign as well, in that sense of unity that they brought to so many things. I want to just add this point, if I may. I grew up in the Midlands in the 1960s, and the best years of my life in many ways were the education I had by being a volunteer worker in Jamaica in the late 60s and trying to understand something, yes, of the beauty and wonder of the Caribbean culture, but also what the people of the Caribbean had gone through, from slavery to exploitation to indentured labour to an economic system that was profoundly unfair on every Caribbean economy. And I remember like it was yesterday when Enoch Powell made his disgraceful Rivers of Blood speech, and the anger and the shame and the reaction that people had throughout the Caribbean about that. He was trying to stir up racism against the Caribbean community, the African community, and the South Asian community. So when I hear people claiming that refugees are the greatest problem to this country, and that the small boat people are the biggest problem and the boats must be turned back. I've been to Calais. I've sat down with people that have come from Afghanistan, from Iraq, from Syria, from Libya, from Sudan, from Senegal, from Eritrea, from Ethiopia, many other places. They're poor, they're hungry, they're desperate, and they're frightened. They're frightened of what the police will do to them, they're frightened of what the far right will do to them, and they're frightened of what the rest of their life will hold. And we treat them, our media and most of the political establishment, treat them as some kind of dangerous, marauding force. Sorry guys, these are human beings just trying to survive, who are victims of war and human rights abuse. Go through the list of countries I just gave you. We've been involved in wars in most of those countries. Wars have consequences. Those consequences are poverty, those consequences are terror groups, those consequences are refugees, those consequences are desperation of so many people. And so I wish we could look at things a bit differently. You won't find me condemning the people of Bangladesh, Jamaica, India, or anywhere else for the problems we have in our society. And I never will. Because I am proud to represent a constituency that includes people from all parts of the world and all parts of the United Kingdom, because that is what a strong community is about. That means also we have to speak up against human rights abuses around the world, speak up against the power of the arms trade, speak up for peace. And that's why I mention all the wars. Ukraine, Sudan, what's happening in Libya, what's happening in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, what's happening in Yemen, and of course what's happening in Gaza, as yet more bombs rain down on the people of Gaza. So it's no good the British government saying it wants more aid going into Gaza when we're supplying the bombs that are bombing the aid that's going in the first place. And so whatever the result of the election tomorrow, I will be at the Gaza demonstration this Saturday. I will be there with the Palestinian people, because that is where we have to be. We have to be there in order to support people that are going through the most appalling conflict. So I finish with this. We've had a most fantastic campaign here. We've brought in all of the issues. We've brought in such amazing volunteers, and it's been truly humbling, the people that have given us so much effort. And tomorrow we go out to try and get the votes and get ourselves over the line. And I'm often inspired by many things, but particularly people, by their voices and by the poetry that has inspired me and so many others. So, if I may, I'll read a short poem to you to finish this off. And if we had a lectern, I'd be able... Oh, thank you. What a comrade. Shelley wrote a most brilliant poem after the massacre at Peterloo in Manchester. What happened there was they were desperately poor people who had been the soldiers of the Duke of Wellington in the Battle of Waterloo. They had indeed won for the British Empire the Battle of Waterloo. When they came back, they found themselves in poverty. When they came back, they found themselves chased from town to town, and various laws were passed in order to prevent them working and doing many, many other things. It was a most terrible time of oppression. And there was a protest. There was protest in Manchester, protest in Shropshire, protest in the northeast. But the one that's best known is Peterloo, when a number of the protesters were killed by the armed forces who were sent by the King and the Prime Minister of the time to destroy their lives. Shelley, who has connections with Islington through Mary Wollstonecraft, and who was his mother-in-law, and wrote this amazing poem from Italy when he heard about the Peterloo massacre. I'm not going to read it all, but it's too long. But if I may, I'll just read the last 3 verses from our book, Poetry for the Many. And that slaughter to the nation shall steam up like inspiration, eloquent, oracular, a volcano heard afar. And these words shall then become like oppression's thundered doom, ringing through each heart and brain, heard again, 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 rise like lions after slumber, in unvanquishable number. Shake your chains to earth like dew, which in sleep had fallen on you. Ye are many, they are few. Thank you.
Mr. Jeremy Corbyn! I'm going to ask our speakers to make their way round to the front. If all of our speakers could go round to the front. I'm going to introduce you to Artin, who is one of our top organisers, who's going to tell you a little bit about tomorrow. Let's give it up for Artin.
Good afternoon, Highbury Fields. Well, good evening. We are surely going to be taking a picture, but there's two things that I want to tell you to do right now. Firstly, anyone you know in Islington North, I want you to get your phone out and message them and tell them to vote for Jeremy Corbyn as an independent. Because we all know here, a vote for Jeremy Corbyn means a vote to stop the privatisation of our NHS, means a vote for public services run for the public interest, means a vote for action on housing crisis and rent control, and means a vote for justice for Palestinians. So please make sure you've told everyone you know in Islington North to vote for Jeremy Corbyn. And finally, tomorrow is the most important day of the campaign. I want to say a huge, huge thank you to every single one of you who has come out today and has come out in the previous weeks to campaign and canvass for Jeremy here in Islington North. And tomorrow, I want to see you back here again. Not right here. I want to see you, if you haven't signed up to the polling form, if you haven't been allocated a committee room, please make your way to our campaign HQ on Fonthill Road, and we will direct you to an appropriate place. So tomorrow, Fonthill Road, polling day, back here in Islington North. And one last time, let's hear it for Jeremy Corbyn and all our speakers. I'm going to ask everybody to take a couple of steps back. Take a couple of steps back. Our speakers are going to turn round. And we're going to have a group photo. This is the beautiful Alex.
Oh, it's very beautiful.
This is the beautiful Alex. We're going to move this back, okay? And what we're going to do is everyone's going to look at Alex with their best smile And we're going to take a huge photo. Right. Make sure everyone is facing this way. And I want you to say these words. After 3. Vote Corbyn independent. After 3. Vote Corbyn independent. Ready? 1, 2, 3. No. I want everyone to hold their posters up right now. And I want it to be louder than the Emirates on match day. After 3, vote Corbyn independent as loud as you can. 1, 2, 3. Make some noise! Vote for Jeremy. Come out tomorrow. Come and win this historic campaign. Thank you for coming. Get home safe.
Thank you.